All right, welcome to another episode of Inappropriate Earl. It's a special 4th of July episode in honor of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest where people cheer contestants to an early death. We have a very special guest here. You know, we interview comics, porn stars, well-known actors, David Arquette, Stephen Piercing from Rat coming in, Bobby Brown, the Cherry Pie Girl, next Monday. I mean, it's like a sneak preview, coming attractions. So it'll be interesting because she doesn't really like Tawny Katane, and Tawny Katane was one of the first big celebs I got for this show. But today's not about those ladies. It's not about Stephen Piercy. It's not about Don Fry, UFC legend. It's about Jeremy Craven.
Who's Jeremy Craven? No one knows. I'm Jeremy Craven.
That's all right. I mean, like I said, we're not picky with guests here on Inappropriate Earl.
Exactly. Like, if you can't get someone from Rat to come in, there's homeless people in the area you can pick up off the street, and I'm happy to be one step above that.
Well, he actually hasn't come in yet. So, he's been, as you can see, I have a shrine dedicated to Stephen Piercy's career.
And this is always here.
No, I have my CD. I'm old school. I have CDs still.
Yeah.
And I also have a home answering machine.
I was really excited by that. I texted you to come over, and I got a text back saying that the text was sent to a landline. So I Googled what a landline was, and I was like, this is incredible. People used to do this.
I mean, I'm home a lot in the daytime writing jokes, editing podcasts, watching hot dog eating contests, reading biographies of 80s rockers. So I don't see the craziness in having a home line, but apparently I get a lot of texts to my landline.
For those of you who can't see this, what I'm looking at right now is a coffee table covered in CDs, books, and then what look like NHL trophies.
No, those are my mini ball hockey scoring titles.
Okay.
I play in something called the SoCal Street Hockey Association.
Excellent. Is that with rollerblades?
No, it's foot.
With feet.
So you're in a roller rink, but you're playing on your feet.
I like that because, like, hockey players are some of the toughest motherfuckers in the world, and rollerbladers are some of the softest dudes on the face of the earth. So when it came down to figure out how to play not on ice, your league was like, nah.
Well, I mean, it's actually harder to play in your feet, because you have to run to get the ball,
Yeah.
On roller skates, ice skates, you can kind of glide, and any idiot can run. So
yeah,
you could be up against a guy who's never played before, and he could outrun you to the ball. So and guys have lost, like, one guy lost a testicle in our league.
Wow.
Because the ball, I shoot the ball around 100 miles an hour.
Okay, 100 mph.
And it's an orange plastic ball. So it can hurt, and they freeze it in ice, so it's hard.
They freeze it in ice?
Oh, yeah.
Just in case it hits a nut. They want to make sure it does the most damage.
Maximum damage.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hurt guys. I hit one guy in the throat. I thought I killed him.
Wow.
But it's the only non-comedy thing I do. I don't know what, and we're going to get into it. Yeah. I don't know what your non-comedy hobbies are, but that's like my one. And going to shitty 80s metal shows.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's where we're the same and different. I don't go to shows. I was a musician for a long time because that's what got me laid when I was a teenager. But I think, like, we're both into metal, just different facets of it. You celebrate more of the hair side of metal, and I'm more into the side of metal where people growl like this and you can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I have so much more anger than you. I feel like.
I don't know about that. The way my life has gone the last few years, I'm not that happy-go-lucky guy. But, that's why I listen to the type of music I do, because, like, you listen to Slayer,
Yeah,
early Metallica,
Deicide, In Flames, Cannibal Corpse, like all the classics.
Napalm Death.
Napalm Death is a little too belligerent for me.
You know, yeah. I get angry when I listen to that music.
Oh.
Like it pumps you up. It does what I think it's intended to do, which is just, turn you into a maniac. But, when you listen to Poison or... Rats album they did with Desmond Child, which is full of just that 80s schlock, syrupy butt rock ballads.
And which one of that? Which one?
That would be Detonator. So Detonator is
looking through the Ratadex
over there. Desmond Child, of course, one of the great songwriters of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, wrote all of Aerosmith's hits.
Oh wow.
Co-wrote, when they did their comeback. But a lot of people say he ruined Aerosmith. Because he does the Angel and Tell Me What It Takes to Let You Go type.
Whatever. Bands like that always had songs for the ladies. Every metal band has a song for the ladies. Even death metal bands have ballads for the ladies.
Well, that's what I would love to see Desmond Child get together with someone like a Cannibal Corpse and because he's written, he wrote all the Kiss's hits in the 80s, Ricky Martin. I mean, he's got this incredible array of artists that he's worked with. He writes he's just a hitman.
Yeah, even like Metallica's Black Album, I'd say half of that is hits for the ladies.
Well, that's when they sold out, right? Or is that Load?
No, Load is when they really sold out. Here's the thing with Load. If you showed me Load and told me, and I didn't know who Metallica was, I'd be like, this album kind of kicks ass. I can drive fast and punch people to this. This is awesome. But after hearing Ride the Lightning, after hearing For Whom the Bell Tolls, after hearing Kill 'Em All, after hearing Master of Puppets, Load sounds exactly what it's named like. It sounds like a load.
Well, that's like Kiss's Carnival of Souls. If you don't tell anyone that's Kiss, it sounds just like a good Stone Temple Pilots record.
Yeah.
I mean, Kiss are the biggest bandwagoners ever. I mean, they went from pop album and Unmasked, and they did a concept album like Pink Floyd, and then they did a heavy album because they saw like Judas Priest was like the next thing coming, and then they went into the butt rock era.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge Kiss fan because I'm a huge Gwar fan, and I see Kiss as like Gwar for ladies. Like they dress up in the costumes, they put on the theatrics, they borrow from metal, like both sides do, except Gwar. Have you ever seen Gwar live?
I saw him at the House of Blues once.
It's the greatest thing on the face of the earth.
I mean, I'll say it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little too, and the singer just died.
Yeah, he just died. He started fucking around with heroin.
What was his name? Oderus
Arungus.
So, I mean, they were a little too, I don't know, they were interesting. Wasp is about as wild as I'll go in terms of like the stage show, and I think they threw raw meat into the crowd.
Yeah. No, but Gwar, if no one's ever seen Gwar, and you probably won't get a chance to now, they have cannons with several different types of imagined bodily fluids. They have blood cannons and green cannons and white cannons, which I assume are cum. I don't know what the green is. It might be pus. I don't know.
But what is a band like Gwar? Do they want to make it? Are they touring to like, hey, the next album will be a hit record, or
no?
Or do they just enjoy?
They enjoy the theatrics of it, and like Oderus was always one of those guys who was a make your own game type of dude, which is why he had like a giant strap-on monster dildo on all the time, because like he didn't want to be a part of like the larger system that takes bands that like are relatively good and then just like rips them apart and turns them into this sellable thing. He was like, no, I'll create my own game. So even when Gwar was like, no matter what label Gwar was on, they didn't need a label. People would go see Gwar because Gwar created their own game.
So they were similar to, I would say, Motorhead.
Yeah.
Who I love, my ex-girlfriend manages them, so I just became a fan just out of seeing them 100 times.
Yeah. And you had to have bumped into Lemmy like 7,000 times in this area.
I gave him a ride to the dentist many a time.
Oh, nice.
So, and he was great. At 9 a.m, I picked him up. He lives just right down the street. I live right by the Rainbow, for those of you not knowing where I live, West Hollywood. And by the first stop before the dentist.
Not an actual rainbow with a pot of gold and a leprechaun. It's a bar in West Hollywood where hair metal still lives.
Yeah. Oh, it's that's the great thing about the Rainbow. No, it's not that kind of rainbow. That's one block to the south.
Yeah.
Which is a big symbol in the gay community.
Yeah, for like putting wieners in butts.
Well, I still haven't figured out what it means, but I guess my neighbor told me once that there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but if you're cute, the leprechaun will fuck you.
Yeah.
See, I just slipped a joke in on the slide.
I like that. And, to be perfectly honest, if I was at a bar and a gay dude who was also a midget, who was also dressed in green, was like, I want to hit it, I'd be like, this should be on my bucket list.
And you have a rainbow shirt on right now. Not the band with, it's actually two unicorns. Two unicorns humping.
Yeah, two unicorns fucking each other with a rainbow.
You got a lot of balls wearing that shirt in this neighborhood.
When I was younger, I still have a lot of gay friends, and we had a lot of jocks who were total douchebags and would bully people, and I wasn't a fan of it, so I started dressing very flamboyantly, so they would start picking on me because I could fight.
Can you?
Yeah, like I'm not incredible, but like I'll keep going, and I know how to throw a punch.
Now, where did you get this type of? Because I'm the complete opposite. I can't fight.
Yeah.
Where do you get this type of training?
I was locked up for like 2 years.
Oh, in prison?
Well, juvenile.
Oh, okay. But see, that I didn't. See, I don't know a lot about you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of stuff I don't advertise all the time, but I committed a bunch of crimes when I was relatively young and ran away a lot. So when I was like 12, my parents gave me back up to be a ward of the state. Okay. And I was in youth lockup for a while. Then I was in reform schools, mental hospitals, youth lockdown at a place called Long Lane in Connecticut, which has since I think been closed down because they beat the crap out of the kids all the time. But yeah, my roommates were like murderers, rapists. Like I was roommates with one guy who shot his grandmother in the head 28 times with a revolver. That's a lot of reloading.
Did she make it?
No.
That's anger issues, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So, I definitely, like, I took a lot of punches because I had a big mouth, and eventually I learned how to give a few back. So, and I'm not, like, my skill set as a fighter isn't great, but the majority of people aren't trained fighters, and the majority of people who even start fights are fucking drinking or doing something stupid. And since I don't really drink or get high, when someone picks a fight with me now, especially at a bar, they've had a few, and like I've got the edge.
Because you work, can we say where you work?
Yeah, I work up at the Den of Hollywood, at the hottest bar on the Sunset Strip across from where Belushi died.
Yeah, no, that's it's basically what is that little Sunset Corridor, I guess you'd call it?
It's where West Hollywood really starts. It's the beginning of the Sunset Strip.
Basically a little west of Sunset and Crescent Heights.
Yeah, right across from the Chateau Marmont.
I mean, the Den is a happening. It's not my kind of place. It's too fucking loud in there.
Yeah,
but
that's what happens when bars get hip. They get loud.
And if you're going to look for pussy, I would say this is one of the. Would you say it's one of the top bars to try and hook up at?
For like
just for a horny dude.
Yeah. Well, I think. It depends. Like there's a lot of really pretty girls that go in there. We're all kind of feminists, so it's like we don't like super creepy guys. Like, and it's like weird, like fake alpha males who like wait till girls get really drunk and then prey on them. We're not a big fan of that. And I think that's why we have so many women that come in there, because me and the other bartenders spend a lot of time pretending we're someone's boyfriend to make sure some creeper will get off a girl's back. But yeah, there's girls go to bars and they want to hook up. Just don't be a fucking creep, and girls will probably hook up with you. That's why a lot of them tend to go to bars. Same reason as guys.
But see, I find for someone who's never had a drink, I've hung out at a lot of bars.
Wait, you've never had a drink?
Never had a drug or drop.
Wow.
But I don't hate on people who do. I mean, obviously we're both in comedy.
Yeah.
I'm around cocaine pretty much every night, and weed and booze.
I don't drink either, right?
Have you? But
I used to.
Right.
Yeah, I used to, but like I haven't drank or done drugs for like 5.5 years.
Did you just? What was the tipping point, as they say?
I started waking up covered in my own blood. There was like this one thing where I was blacked out and I came to in a guy's car and he was like playing with my dick. And I was just like...
That's a hell of a tipping point.
I know. I think I got a drinking problem and a drugging problem.
Now, what was your drug of choice?
Alcohol, but... I always wanted it with something else. Like I would have my alcohol and cocaine phase, and then my alcohol and pills phase, and then I had a very short-lived alcohol and crack phase.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jack Daniels or crack cocaine. Oh, dude, Jack Daniels and crystal meth actually go really well together.
Well, your teeth have held up well.
Yeah, no, it's solid. It's that Irish-Italian DNA, man. It's really taking care of me.
But doesn't meth rot the something to do? Because I know a few guys I play hockey with do it, and their teeth.
It eats away at the gum.
Oh,
teeth
dude.
Go. Yeah, I never did any hard drug for long enough. Like I'd always switch to something else. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just never. I'm an addictive person myself, so
yeah. Would you classify yourself? I don't feel like I'm outing you because I've listened to some of the other podcasts and I know. Classify yourself as a sex addict.
I mean, probably back in the day, I would love to blow it out.
Yeah.
But it's because of the group of people I was hanging with. All high level IC. Well, I won't mention agencies, but
you're talking about ices, like slushies.
Ices. I love ices. Blue ices.
Blue ices, so good.
All high level agents, managers.
I see dead people.
Yeah, I see. So I was. Because I didn't do any drugs, they had me around to be the designated driver at the end of the night. And, they couldn't score all the chicks. So, I would get basically their leftovers. But I was fine with that. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're using a condom, there's no sloppy seconds.
Well, I mean, there was a few times where, maybe I didn't. But, I've never had a disease.
Yeah. I've only had one. I'm really happy.
What was it?
Chlamydia.
And do you know who gave it to you?
I have a pretty good idea, but that person claims I gave it to them. I was only sleeping with 2 girls at the time. I was only having unprotected sex with 2 girls. And then there was all the other girls that I was like, I don't trust any of them, condoms. And then one day my dick started to itch and I was like, oh man, I should have peed after sex. And then, you squeeze it and a little something comes out and you're like, wait, why is there still sperm in here? And then you Google, like, what does AIDS look like? Because you don't know. But, yeah, I went to the clinic, and they were like, yeah, it looks like chlamydia. I'm like, but it could be a UTI, right? And he was like, dudes don't get UTIs, stupid.
Well, I mean, I thought I had AIDS once just because I had a bump on my neck.
Yeah.
And I Googled bump on my neck, and
WebMD said it's AIDS.
Yeah, it's it. So I was like, went and got 5 AIDS tests in one day. I was so fucking nervous. And the last place I went to is right on the corner. It's an AIDS, West Hollywood. I figured.
Oh, the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I went for my chlamydia.
They're going to know what they're doing at this place. And the guy before me left crying. So I was like, well, I guess we know how that one went.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing that I love about clinics. They always test you. They give you a rapid HIV test first. And here's why I don't care about the chlamydia. Because I was like, if I got chlamydia, I could have anything right now. You get your rapid HIV test, it comes back negative, and then it's like, I'm so happy I don't have AIDS. I'll be okay with herpes right now if that's what's going on.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But they gave me a shot. Said don't have sex for 7 days. That was the worst part. And
that's a lot for you because you're probably a more. At least you used to be more of a sex addict than I was because you got hot chicks. I didn't really.
How do you not get hot chicks? You're kind of a ripped dude, Earl.
Well, I mean, now I do okay. I mean, my last few girlfriends have been very attractive. But, back in the day, I didn't really care what they look like.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was with some real gorillas.
Yeah.
But I'm a boob man, so I would sacrifice looks for big boobs.
I don't understand that. Like, because I'm okay. You know what almost kind of turns me on? When a girl's boobs are so small that when you pin her arms back, it looks like a boy's chest.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm with you on that one, but
I don't expect you to be because you're a boob guy. Here's my thing, though. How are you going to be sexually attracted to the only part of a girl's body that you're not going to stick your dick in? That's like, yeah, I'm a forearm guy.
But I mean, the girl I'm dating now is, I think your boobs are great, but I guess she would say is, not the most bosomy girl in the world, but she's beautiful. So, I mean, it's, I guess your wants change.
Yeah. For me, it's weird now. Like, because especially LA, it's like visually you have the pick of the litter. Like any kind of hot girl, I'm putting up air quotes right now, everyone. Any kind of hot girl that you could possibly want is here. And, they're available to you if you're confident enough and, you know how to talk. But after like 10 years here, I'm just like, I don't care how hot you are, because so many really attractive women, in my opinion, in my experience, have been so horrible to talk to and so bad in bed that now it's almost like smell. Like it's like a pheromones thing. It's like a chemical thing. Like if I hug you and like your smell, your scent like makes me want to like bite you really, really hard, then I'm like, yeah, let's hang out.
Well, I mean, it's I'm more into the personality now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's important too.
I mean, there's a lot of twats out here.
It's true, man. There's a lot of loose-lipped, hangy roast beefs, kind of extra mayo.
Well, I mean, I never really thought of it that way, but but I also don't chase girls, I mean, like, my ex-girlfriend's a bartender, and I would see these slobs, these cocaine fools, just picking up on her right in front of me, and it's like, ugh, is this really who I'm competing with?
The best way you could pick up on a girl is to not pick up on a girl.
Yeah, I think it's a real mind fuck for them.
Exactly. Find the girl that's getting hit on by 5 douchebags, sit right next to her, and ignore her for 30 minutes until she gets worried that something's wrong with her because you're not paying attention to her.
Oh, I agree. I think it's the almost like you see certain comics doing like anti-comedy and the crowd loves it.
Yeah.
It's like anti-pickup.
Exactly.
But I've also seen that style work with dudes in bars where they just beat on a girl for, they just...
Yeah, and then she's just like, oh, fine, I'm drunk.
It's gross.
Let's do it. But okay, let's say...
And you see this at the bar.
All the time. I've been bartending since I was 19 years old. I'm a 32-year-old man now. So... my experience has been that girl might end up going home with you. Your odds are slim, but if you get that girl home, like, don't you want someone who's enthusiastic to have sex with you? Because it's not that girl. That girl's given up.
But I don't think guys like what we're talking about now want that. They just want to get their dick in a hole.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I've ever been like that with women where I had to like, I throw it out there, and if they're not into it, I just okay.
And that's the thing. I have a huge problem with because I consider myself an alpha male, and I think like we get a bad name because you have all these douchebag button down flannel shirt wearing muscly frat boys who call themselves alpha males, who are basically borderline date rapists. And it's like when you watch a Pride of Lions and you look at the alpha male, he doesn't chase any of the female lions around all day. Like he hangs out and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go to this guy because he's the guy, and like, I don't know. These are just fucking betas, dude. I hate them so much. These little betas. And then when you put them in their place, when they're out of line, when they're making women feel uncomfortable, and you slap them down a peg or two, then they want to fight you. And it's just like, are you serious? How about you ask me how I'm taking home the girl that you wanted?
That's the best, when that guy puts in all the legwork, and then because you were a nice guy, you reap the benefits.
Exactly. And it's not even like being like a super nice guy. Like I'm not the nicest guy. Like,
yeah, but I
try to be fun. I try to be fun, exciting, and interesting. A little dangerous, But yeah. but
you
safe.
got the confidence, though. I've seen you at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, I'm not. Why would you not be confident? The only hurdle that men have with women is that thing that Louis C.K. was talking about. We're the number one threat to a woman's health, statistically. More women get hurt by men than anything else. So you just got to be cool enough to like put a girl at ease that you're not going to do something horrible to her. Like, that's the biggest hurdle, and it should be the easiest. But guys are such mooks.
Oh God, mooks! That is a term I coined with your great friend Carlos Herrera.
Yeah, back in the day.
Who guys are mooks?
Yeah,
pigs. They're animals.
Yeah, they're disgusting, slovenly idiots. And you know, it's like we did it to them in a way, man. What was it? 5 seasons of Entourage will brainwash anyone.
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling you off air, I had a little incident with a mook, Mr. Mook, at your bar the other night. And it's like, is this guy serious? And, but, it's LA. Yeah. It's just, I've always tried to play by the rules with men and women. I never go after another guy's lady, ever. Even if I like them, I just chalk it up as, it just wasn't meant to be. But I'm starting to realize that I might be in the minority of that.
No, I'm in the same boat with you. If a girl has a boyfriend, I don't fuck with it. 2 reasons. 1, it's the respectful thing to do, but the more important reason to me is for my own basic health, because someone will stab you if you fuck their girlfriend eventually.
I mean, I've had that happen, and
You've been stabbed?
No, I haven't done anything, which I think probably was the mistake at the end of the day, because I think if you don't use some form of physical violence against the offender, it's like, oh, either you didn't care or it encouraged them to their behavior. So I mean, but I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a great fighter, but when I'm pissed, it ain't pretty.
Yeah. And also, like, there's a million ways to destroy a person. You could punch them in the face, or you could just like destroy their reputation piece by piece over the course of years. Which, like, there's like one dude who started working on a girl I was dating while I was still dating her, and I really loved her. And another comedian, they ended up together after we broke up, and I'm very public about it. Like, I know secrets of this dude's, and I hand them out.
Oh, really? I'd like to hear them off the air.
Oh, off air, you're gonna get them,
or on the air. But I don't want. This isn't like a gossip show. But yeah, no. I mean, what I'm doing right now in my particular situation is, and it might not be the best because it goes. It's basically I'm not doing anything and letting things play out as they are, and it's starting to look better for me every day. So
yeah, But the guy in the situation involved, was it like someone in your locale?
Oh yeah, I mean he was always trying to. He was pretty open about it. So. But I just, my attitude at the time was, hey man, you could look all you want, but she's going home with me at the end of the night.
And then one day,
it just is a whole situation. I don't want to say too much on air because it gives away certain identities, but and then this goes back to this particular person just beating down for 3 years the situation. So
it's a lot of legwork.
But I don't think I've ever been. I've never. It's like kind of pathetic that a guy, and not even just in this case, but would have to resort to that to get his weenie wet.
Yeah, and it is what it is. Like, guys like that, they're fucking betas, man, and they're gonna stay betas. And like, ideally, we should take the high road, not hold resentments, and not waste our time on it. Focus on our careers.
Sure.
But I have too much anger inside me, man. I got too much rage. And now that I'm 32 and I can't really punch you in the face, going to find other things to do. I'm going to make sure something in your life doesn't happen when you want it to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's, that could be more effective if you guys are in the same field.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen that happen where, you know, someone sent their tape to Comedy Central and a guy who they'd fucked over, you know, with a female friend, it was a big deal at Comedy Central, threw his tape in the trash.
Yeah.
So it's,
you have to difference. And I honestly, even if, because I have a few friends who are comics who, like, they're not incredible with women. And so, like, I'll be talking to a girl and I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to sleep with this girl. And then, like, they'll show interest. And I just back off at this point because I don't need it, you know? Like I want my friends to be able to, I'm trying to say this without an ego, but basically I'm hard to compete with.
Well, no, but you're a good-looking guy. You're funny. You're talented. I mean, that's, you know, and you have a almost, and I mean this in a complimentary way. It might come off not as an insult, but like, you know, you have like this pro wrestling confidence.
Yeah,
and chicks, at least in LA, dig that. This is an insult, but it's not at you, but that Rico Suave kind of, hey baby, I'm the man. They like it in this town.
Yeah. No, it's a when in Rome thing, man. I've been here for 10 years. When I got here, I was a scared, chubby dude. And it's like, what does a smart person do when they're in an unfamiliar situation? They pay attention to what works, and then they try to fix it to work with whatever their book of rules and whatever their moral standing is. So, you know, like I saw a lot of guys being super confident douchebags and getting chicks, and I was like, I'll take the super confident and I'll imply the douchiness, but I won't follow through with it. A lot of people meet me and they think I'm a huge douchebag, and it's like, I'm not. I have a strong moral code. I do my best not to be a douchebag, but women are attracted to douchebags. Oh. So if the packaging looks like a douchebag and then I bring you home and I go down on you for 45 minutes, you've won twice.
Well, no, but you are ladies, man. Absolutely. I mean, but you know, I imagine working at the bar and comedy every night. I mean, you're either doing one of those two at least 5 to maybe every night of the week.
They're the only two things I really do.
It's great training.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. My life in LA. If you like, sometimes I get down about my career. We all get down about our career. But Earl Skakel, if you told 5-year-old Earl Skakel that this is where you'd be right now and this is the cool shit you'd be doing, 5-year-old Earl would be like, "That's awesome."
Oh yeah, I love doing this podcast.
Yeah. Podcasts, like, you know, you do your shows, you do your sets, you know, you are ingrained as part of the community at the world famous Comedy Store. Like, you are part of the legend of this era right now.
Well, I mean, you know, I have to figure out a way to try and you know, I was telling someone this the other day. I mean, I think I might be, and this isn't cocky at all, I might be the most well-liked guy in LA comedy. Not my comedy, but just like from day one, I've tried to pattern myself after like Brody Stevens from the standpoint of Brody can walk into any room, whether it's an alt room, the Improv, the Comedy Store, or anything in between, and people are like, Brody's here.
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to... you know, I don't think I have one enemy in this business.
No, I've never heard anyone say a bad word about you. And in fact, if you guys notice the way I'm speaking right now, Earl's tone is very infectious. And you almost end up doing like a impression of Earl Skakel all the time. And my group of friends, when we all started comedy, would just sit around talking like this all day. It's fuck, you know, just palming each other all night.
Palming, and a lot of people, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people see my Facebook posts when I say I'm palming at Equinox, and, Palm City 18.
Yeah, a lot of glad handing.
Yeah, they don't. Palming, I got that from one of my favorite cult movies of all time, is a movie. I think it might have been Dice Clay's very first movie, where he played a doorman at a nightclub. And it's kind of neat to see him, like, not Dice, he was just Andrew Clay.
Yeah.
It was called Making the Grade with Judd Nelson.
Oh, shit.
And
it was after Breakfast Club.
It was like around 83, 84, so it might have been, he either did it right before or right after.
Yeah.
And it's a story about he's a hot fuck up, and this rich kid named Palmer Woodrow paid him to graduate college for him, and Palmer Woodrow had like this Fraser Smith, like nice to everyone, shake everyone's hand type of vibe.
The real Palmer.
Yeah, he was the original Palmer. So whenever I see someone in the comedy world who's just a real ass kisser, there was a few comics once who never really said anything to me at the Comedy Store, but one night they saw me talking to Rob Schneider.
Oh, yeah.
And they all came up to me and palmed, pressing palms.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So, that's what palming means. And
yeah.
But
that's a great thing to pay attention to. It's like, because there's some guys I know who like are not great comics, they're still figuring it out. They're basically they're nobodies, I mean, we're all nobodies on some level, but they're people, they're human beings, and they're great guys, and we're supposed to be part of a community, and I can tell who I like in the community based on the way they treat those guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and people are watching you, fucking Palmers. Like,
oh yeah, man.
We're watching you. Sometimes I get afraid I'm being mistaken for a Palmer because I daydream a lot and I have ADD, and I can literally walk into a room, see 4 people I know, and not realize they're there. But overall, I feel like I lead a palmless existence.
Well, I mean, you have to do a certain amount of palming. Everyone does. I mean, even someone who's on a sitcom, they got to palm, for their next project when their show gets canceled.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like pursuing people who you want to work with in a professional manner and then eating Pop-Tarts out of someone's ass so you can get spots in the OR.
Well, I haven't figured out how to do that. I tried to palm up there, and even though I'm probably one of the most well-liked guys up there, it hasn't translated into spots. But
yeah, I mean, that's just the weird state of that club and what it is.
But I will say this, and I think we can mention the guy's name, Tommy Morris, the talent coordinator. I mean, that is a tough job. I mean,
it's not easy. He's filling big shoes, man.
Well, just I was there one night, and 3, I won't mention their names, but A-list comics all walked in at the same time. Now, they all wanted to go on next, and they were giving Tommy unbelievable shit. Well, I got a show I got to get ready for, and then, I was next, man, and blah blah, and it was like, wow, this is a tough job.
Yeah,
when it's one thing to get shit from guys like you and me, trying to get in.
Yeah,
but when 3 guys who you give the best spots to on earth are like busting your balls, it's like, all right, I kind of understand now how hard your job is.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I still think it could be done in a slightly better way, but
yeah, I think the majority of people do.
Just more honesty. Like Jamie from the Improv, he's awesome, man.
Wait, Jamie from the Laugh Factory?
No, well, there's Jamie Masada, obviously, who owns the Laugh Factory. I guess he's the talent coordinator there. But there's Jamie Flam, who's the talent coordinator at the Improv.
Is that new? Is that since the renovation?
He's been there maybe a year or so.
Yeah.
But he's really cool how he goes about it. He came up to me and said, "Hey man, I love you. Everyone loves you. I get 8 spots a week to give out." Yeah. So basically, until you're either on TV, he didn't say it in this way, but he was basically said, until you get on TV or you got something, some heat, I can't really hook you up. And I'm like, but at least I now know where I stand there.
Yeah.
Whereas at the Comedy Store, I've been up there, same deal as you, but whatever, it's been 5-6 years, and I still don't know how Tommy thinks of me.
Yeah. I don't even know if he knows that I exist. And so literally when I get spots on other shows there, I go and do those spots.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I've gotten a couple TV credits, and I'm just going to try to get more, and then just walk in and be like, "You ready to develop me so you can tell people you discovered me after I did all this work to get on TV myself?"
Yeah, I mean, it's. I literally I'm fumbling for words, and I'm not trying to be funny. I just like I did the development spots for like 6 months, and I would say more often than not I was probably the funnier one, at least of the people who were getting development spots, and almost every one of them got passed but me.
Oh man!
So it was like, I know every comic thinks they're great and should get this and that, but I'm pretty honest. Like when I bomb, I'll admit it. But so I was just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So, but you just keep, that's really why I started this podcast, just so I could just only deal with people I want to deal with.
Hey, if it could resurrect Mark Maron's career.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's, as you see, I have his book on there. A lot of people forget Maron was kind of, he was almost like an 80s metal band in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
He was not done, but like.
No, he was done. I think he even says like, I was done. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life.
And then, bam, here comes this podcast, and it's huge, and he's back on top. Him and Louis C.K. are probably and Bill Burr, are probably the top 3 guys right now going. So,
and the thing I love about Mark Maron's podcast is there's been a lot of comedians, people who are super famous, who are running shit now, and like they're on TV, they have TV shows, who will be on his podcast and been like, dude, you and your friends were fucking dicks to us back in the day. Like, what was it, Amy Poehler, I think, specifically?
Oh, I've never, in full disclosure, I've never listened to one podcast.
Carlos Herrera used to play him all the time when we lived together, so like I've heard a good handful. So like, dude, don't be dicks to people in fucking comedy, man, because like his career almost ended. He had to resurrect it with the internet, the most powerful robot on the face of the earth.
Oh yeah. I mean, my first time ever meeting him was at the Comedy Store, of course, and where he used to be a doorman. So you can't get any lower in life than being a doorman at the Comedy Store. So, but there's a lot of great comics who started at that job, but he pulled up in the garage, or not the garage, but the parking lot. Louis Anderson got out of his car at the same time, and in kind of a dicky way, Mark kind of announced in the parking lot, "Oh, great, the ghost of comedy passed," which I took as kind of an insult.
Yeah,
like. And I don't think Louis heard him. And but then, the second time I met him, I said, "Hey, man, I really enjoyed your book. He couldn't have been any nicer."
Yeah. Well, I think he's figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how anyone who's this successful now could be a dick, but at this point, but like I like how he had Dean Del Rey on his podcast, which I thought was really cool to give someone at the time who was, not completely unknown, but like. A newer comic, like get him on the biggest podcast going.
Yeah.
So he does stuff like that.
I think there was some palming involved there.
But I mean, that's the great thing about Dean is like, I think he originally asked, and Mark basically said in his own inimitable way, "Who are you?" No, it said no several times, and Dean didn't. And this is where I don't know about you, but I have to learn to have a little more bit of Dean in me, and he just kept after him,
kept doing
and he got on it.
Yeah. No, it's that's what is the guy who took huge Hollywood producer used to
Bryan Singer, Twink Party.
No, the guy who did the Ocean's 11's movies, that guy.
Right.
There's a documentary about him called My Way. He wanted to book a tour for Elvis, so he called Elvis's manager one day and said, "Hey, I want to book a tour for Elvis." And the guy was like, "Who the fuck are you?" No. So he's like, "Okay, I'll call you tomorrow." Called him every morning, and on the 1-year anniversary of the first call, the guy was like, "Fine, we've been talking every morning for a year now. I know who you are."
I mean, but you just have to be persistent. It's like Stallone and Rocky. I mean, every studio passed on it. I think he finally found one really teeny independent studio. Said, "All right, we'll do it."
Because he wanted to star in it.
But you can't be in it.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy who's an assistant manager, I think at Gersh. And because I have a lot of projects going on, I have a 1 hour that I'm turning into a comic book. That's my Rocky. I want to star in it. It's about demon hunters. It's awesome. It's like Army of Darkness meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's my dream job.
Oh, cool.
And And I was just like, that's what I got. He's like, yeah, I could probably get you in at some point. What do you want to do with it? I was like, I want to star in it and I want to write it. And he's like, who are you? You can't do that. And I was like, all right, the reason I won't come in for a meeting with you is because you're good at telling people why they can't do things. Get good at telling people how you're going to figure out how they can do things and you'll have a career. Like, that's what managers and agents are supposed to do. They're supposed to figure out how something will work, not just tell people it can't work. Because anything can work. Hollywood's the dumbest place on the face of the earth where anything can work.
Well, I think most agents and managers, this is kind of a two-faced statement, but I think they're lazy and they don't want to develop anything. They want you to come in, here's a show, it's fully shot, okay.
Yeah.
They don't want to... I have an idea for a show. I don't want to put in the work to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to just come and give them 10% of something that you already made money off of, so they can go get their happy endings.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's why all my agency friends that they loved massage parlors and hookers, escorts.
Yeah, because all those things are great.
Oh yeah, if you got expendable money, and I mean, I'm sure. Speaking of expendables. I'm sure Stallone was rejected for that idea. Hey, I want to get all my 80s action movie guys in this movie and be like, you guys haven't been in a movie in 10 years.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would see this? And they're on their third one.
Everyone. They're like, the script is horrible. They're like, yeah, people still watch it.
I mean, but I didn't see the second one, but I got to say it was quite a thrill to walk into a movie theater and whenever the first one came out, 2009, and see like Dolph Lundgren back on the big screen.
Yeah, the original Punisher.
Yeah, which I loved.
I loved that.
The Travolta one left me flat, but
yeah, no, I was a little soft. But did you see Punisher War Journal?
Who was the Punisher in that?
I don't even know the guy's name, man.
Well, that's kind of like I did not.
Which is what they should do with the Punisher movie. You shouldn't know the guy. But yeah, it's exactly what it should be. It's gritty. The story's not incredible. It's just a lot of violence and punishing.
Well, that's kind of like the third RoboCop was.
Yeah, with the fucking ninjas.
He was, the actor's name, I think, was Robert John Burke, who, if you watch NYPD Blue. No, he's the internal affairs guy in Law and Order Sex Crimes, I think.
SVU.
Great face. I mean, very chiseled face. And a lot of people say he played the best RoboCop. But, Peter Weller's, the first RoboCop is just...
Yeah, the first RoboCop is incredible. And that new thing they made...
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, Keaton's awesome.
Yeah, it was good to see Keaton back.
Yeah.
But, and Jackie Earl Haley I love because he was Kelly Leak in the Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
He was the bald guy, like the tech guy. And I think he was nominated for an Oscar for playing a child molester or something. And he was in the Freddy Krueger reboot.
You're thinking he had to register for Megan's Law for molesting a child.
Well, I mean, listen, whatever gets you. Is that an IMDb credit?
For Woody Allen, it is.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. I mean, he's fucking his own daughter or something.
Yeah. That's that thing. It's just like, because he had the one daughter he was fucking that he married. And that's one thing, but then so we're all just kind of like, all right, it's unorthodox, but all right. And then the other girl comes out and is like, yeah, he was raping me in the attic when I was 7 and it hurt.
Well, welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Now, what other projects do you have? Because you got a lot of things in the cooker.
I got one thing that I'm actually here to promote. I'm doing a little bit of glad handing on Inappropriate. I'm going to palm you real hard right now.
But that's why you're on the show.
Yeah, exactly. This is why this is like our version of like doing the talk show circuit to promote your film.
But here we are 40 minutes in. I mean, because you and I are good friends, but we really don't know each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, Jesus Christ, what do I talk about with him after he does the spiel on this project? But, there you go.
We got it. So it's called Recovery, and it's about a gay male with a fighting addiction who has to find God to relieve him of his impulse to punch faces. It's a short film, and it has a lot of great talent. Some people that have just been in my life and I think are very talented. I've got Brendan Sexton III from Empire Records. I've got Sandy Danto in it. I got Justin Martindale in it, and I got J. Chris Newberg in it.
Well, there you go. I mean, I'll see him on the Guitar Center Wall of Fame one day.
And right now we're doing an Indiegogo campaign for it. So if you want to check it out, go to Indiegogo.com, and then in the little search box, just type in the word recovery. We have a great trailer with all those folks and myself in it. It's funny, it's informative, and it'll make you be like, let's give this motherfucker some money. Some of the perks include beer koozies, t-shirts, keychains with a picture of me getting punched in the face, and if you donate all $12,000, I'll tattoo your name on my leg.
See, I did something very... Now, what is the difference between Indiegogo and Kickstarter?
If I don't get all the money with Indiegogo, I still get to keep the money.
Kickstarter, if you don't get all the money...
Yeah.
Okay. Are those the primary two... I guess
there's a GoFundMe out there.
Right. I think I saw a third one. Well, my favorite Kickstarter story is Quiet Riot.
Okay.
Legendary LA metal band. They put out a Kickstarter to fund a documentary about their career. And their career is fascinating. I mean, from the mid-'70s on. And you had the different levels. For $10 you got a CD, for $100 you got an autographed CD, for $250 it was like you get a poster and so on and so forth. And then, but for $10,000, and I this is relating to you.
Yeah. For
$10,000 you got to actually be in the documentary.
Yeah.
But it's like. So I immediately, and one guy did it. So I started a Kickstarter the next day to do a documentary about the guy who donated $10,000 to do, But I mean, shouldn't you, like what you're doing is like, okay, that's pretty cool to get their name tattooed on your body forever. I mean, that's a serious commitment. But I just, in Quiet Riot's case, I was like, well, shouldn't someone have something to do with the band?
Yeah, if they're gonna be in the documentary. And like one of my perks is that, like, because we have two scenes that are like fightaholics and drugaholics anonymous meetings. So we're like, we need extras. So one of the perks is, like, be an extra. Welcome to Hollywood. You're famous now. But like when I see films do Kickstarters where they're like, yeah, you get a speaking role in the film, I'm like, you just destroyed the integrity of your artistic project by saying that anyone can come on and do something. Acting's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work to figure out how to do that.
Oh no, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, even like you see commercials with just one or two lines, it's like there's still some skill involved.
Yeah.
So
I think that's even harder. Like if you give me 10 pages of dialogue, I'll go into an audition, and because you have a lot of room to hide your mistakes.
Right.
You have 2 lines, like you have to be 10 lines before that.
Oh yeah.
Like before you walk in the door, like you have to do a whole thing. You have no warm up. It's like hitting the ramp without gaining speed.
Yeah, I mean, I just did a episode of Rob Schneider's show, and I had like 3 lines, and it was tough because one scene they popped on me right before the cameras rolled. They're like, hey, we just added this. You got to, say these 8 things in that order. And it was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, so it took me a few takes because I kept fucking up the order. But, it all worked out, I guess. And, that's another hard thing about the business is like you see someone like Rob's TV show get canceled and it had good ratings.
Yeah.
And he just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it my own way. He's paying for everything.
Really?
Now, I know guys like you and I probably aren't in the position to say, fuck it, I'm just going to pay for everything. But, I kind of respect him for that.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I don't have the money to pay for everything. I have some money, but, I'm trying to get the rest through Indiegogo.com when people type recovery into the search box and then watch the pitch video.
Just do it. Donate what you can. I mean, it's a good... the Craven's a good man.
Yeah, and if you don't like to type things after hearing them, hopefully Earl will, when he reposts this podcast, will post a link to the Indiegogo as well.
This will be out today. I don't fuck around.
Jeez, it's a machine in here.
Well, it takes me probably about 25 minutes or so to, get the music provided by Stevie Rochelle. Thank you, Stevie. And then, edit it. I don't take out anything. Like Carlos said the N-word on this podcast. I didn't take it out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's trying to be funny, and it's like, you're going to edit that outright. I'm like, no.
No, dude.
So, you know, it's, I try and get them out, you know, I'm still learning, you know, like the first month I started, I taped like, I think 15.
Yeah.
And I sat on them. So I would just release one every Monday.
Yeah.
But then actually one Carlos and Sandy did, they were plugging some show that happened like 4 months ago.
Oh.
So I, you know, now I just release them the day of, and it's kind of a sporadic order.
Yeah.
You know,
when me and, you know, Julia, right? Julia Reese.
Julia Dee Reese.
Yeah. We dated. And then when we broke up, we started a podcast called Frenemies, because people thought it was funny the way we would berate each other for being such, because like we were both huge whores, you know, and it's not in a negative context. We both enjoy sex, but then we broke up. We didn't enjoy sex with each other anymore. So then we started like getting evil with each other, and it was great. But literally, yeah, you got to do it that day.
Well, yeah, and I didn't really realize that it is hard to get people to come to your house. Although I'm fairly central to most people, it's like just getting the singer from Rad has been problem's the wrong word, but this has been somewhat difficult because he lives in the valley, and you know he's doing me the favor, so I understand. You know, it's 30-40 minute drive for him, so I recently bought a mobile setup that will be here tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm just missing out on too many people who, I don't want to say you're too lazy to drive here, but just, you know, I'm sure they're like, who the fuck are you? Why should I come to you?
Dude, going from Hollywood to the Valley or vice versa, that's Armageddon to me.
It's horrible. Yeah. But I just, you know, I will always try and get people to do the home setup because I just think this is more comfortable.
Yeah, this is very chill, man. We're here. I got your rat shrine going on, your huge flat screen TV.
I do need a new TV, as Don Barris pointed out. There's a green hue. The bulb's about to burn out.
There's a bulb in it. This isn't a flat screen.
No, I wish. It's I guess you'd say a projection TV with a bulb in it. But you know, the bulb, I think you have like a couple thousand hours. But this TV is so antiquated now. I mean, I went looking for TVs the other day, and it's like, it's insane.
Yeah. Like, I have a 52 inch plasma TV that I bought for $700, like just hanging on my wall, being huge.
Where?
It was a Panasonic plasma. It's like one of the lower grade ones, but it looks great to me. And I got it. I think I got it at the Best Buy.
Okay. I mean, I know, there's this place called these guys are not sponsors, but you know, Paul's big screen TV.
Crazy Paul, brought to you by Crazy Paul's Big Screens TV. It fell off the back of a truck and into your living room.
I should get that's Crazy Gideon, wasn't it?
Yeah, Crazy Gideon.
That crazy Arab dude who had like a shop downtown, but he was ripping off the original guy, Crazy Eddie. Based out of New York, and he was great because he would. And
then that was the original East Coast West Coast beef.
But yeah, that's
Crazy
why Biggie
Gideon,
got killed.
Crazy Eddie, and then those two rappers got caught in the crossfire.
Crazy Gideon, and then Biggie and Tupac, and you know, it's crazy they still haven't found either killer. But
because it was the police.
Yeah, who knows? I mean. That's what the Craven is referencing is a lot of off-duty cops moonlight as bodyguards, and you know, and our former Crips and Bloods themselves
in LA. That was a huge problem for a while,
and you know, we got a little piece of that the other night at the Comedy Store.
Dude, Cat Williams pulls out a gun,
and then allegedly he said I think 4 Crips were bothering him, and
so is he a Blood?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really, although I'm fascinated by gangs, and, you know, I'm more into the Sons of Anarchy motorcycle gang. Because it's a world I'll never be in. But the guns were drawn. Sunset was shut down. I think the audience members were running all over the place. You know, we were doing the roast battle upstairs in the belly room, which is packed.
Yeah. Put one bullet through there, you'll kill 20 people.
Well, I was almost a victim of a drive-by shooting. This is a crazy story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Real fast, though, because this is about you. It's, I don't like telling stories on,
Right, people want to know stories about Earl Skakel.
Well, one night, my buddy drums for Slash now. He was drumming for Vince Neil, and they're playing at the Key Club. Well, I don't know what it is now. One Oak, isn't it?
I don't even go down there anymore.
I think Jay-Z brought it out, and it's called One Oak now. And
great,
but back in the day, it was called Gazzari's, which was like where Rat got discovered, Van Halen. I mean, Motley Crue, every big band played Gazzari's. So Vince Neil's playing the Key Club. We get to go backstage because I knew the drummer, and Bruce Kulick from Kiss. He was the guitar player in Kiss when nobody, in the mid 80s, like Kiss was like suffering.
Yeah.
And Bruce would even tell you that. And, but Kiss had gone through a few guitar players that were causing problems. Bruce is a great guitar player, but he's kind of a get along to go along type, which is what Gene and Paul were looking for. So me and Bruce were starting to walk out. I see the guitar player from Stephen Pearcy's solo band, Arcade.
Okay.
The great Frankie Wilsex, ex of the Sea Hags. I stopped and I said, "Hey, man, I really liked the Arcade albums." Bruce kept walking. 2 minutes later, Bruce gets shot.
What?
Because there was a fight at the Rainbow. It spilled out to the middle of the street. The Cypress Hill boys were involved. Not in the shoot. They did not do the shooting. I think someone shot at them, and the bullet ricocheted and hit Bruce right in the thigh.
Wow!
Literally an inch or two away from dying because that femoral artery,
man.
But point being, if I didn't see the guitar player from Arcade, I would have been walking right where Bruce got shot. So we all rush out there. I mean, Bruce is like, he's not dying, but he was definitely in shock, and they needed something to stop the bleeding. And I had on this really nice T-shirt, and everyone looked at me. It was like, "Earl, take off your shirt." And I just looked down at Bruce and go, "Hey, man, how bad is it?" And I was such a Jew. The next day, I went to the hospital under the guise of seeing how Bruce was. But I said to the nurse, "Hey, where do they throw out the bloody clothes?" And she took me to this bin that had to have been so riddled with disease. And I found my shirt and I took it out of the bin.
Yeah,
like that, man.
Crazy, man.
So, I mean, yeah. So the Comedy Store was wild the other night. TMZ covered it.
But this isn't like a new thing. Or did Andrew Dice Clay walked in and shot a gun in there back in what?
No, I think that was Kinnison.
It was Kinnison at Andrew Dice Clay.
Because they had a beef. Basically, they were the two big dogs. It was kind of like, I guess, to the younger listeners who might not be fans of Dice or Kinnison, and you should if you aren't. The equivalent today would be like, say, Dane Cook and Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
The two.
And those guys are beefing now, too. It's it's hilarious.
Well, I remember a couple weeks ago at the Improv, I pulled up late night just to press palms because I knew I wasn't getting up, and like two managers come running at me, go, Earl, you got to break up this fight between Dane and Chris. Probably because I'm probably the only physically active comic up there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're talking right around the corner. I guess there was some situation where maybe Dane was possibly upset about Chris going on ahead of him or something, and
Chris is more famous.
Well, I mean, listen, that we talked about Hollywood with guys like you and me, and how we could get fucked over. It's no different for guys of that stature. Of, hey, Chris is on he's got shows on the air. He's like the guy right now. Not that Dane isn't, but since some of his movies maybe didn't do as well as he would have liked.
Yeah, exactly.
He's number two.
Let's just say Dane is pre-comeback right now.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the great thing about, and I think Schneider's in the same boat where he's had maybe a few misfires or whatever, and you're one project away from being the guy again.
Exactly.
So
people want you to come back strong. This town loves a comeback. They love a recovery. They love a comeback. They'll shit on you when you're down, but they'll cheer you when you get back up.
Well, I think in Dane's case, my buddy was I don't want to say his name, and I don't want to say the movie, but he was a casting director on one of his movies that might not have done as well, and he said, I'll never work with him again. So
yeah, well, you hear that a lot about him.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've never. I was somewhat friends with his sister, acquaintances, I guess, and she was cool. I've never really had much interaction with him. I mean, I know Chris a lot better than Dane, and Chris is always nice, but it's just no matter what level you're at in Hollywood, there seems to be a beef.
Yeah.
Open micers from...
Yeah. Well, Bobby Oliver, a comedian that I do the Twitter thing with, posted something today which I clearly stated how I feel about comedy. Some comedians are wordsmiths and others are just fucking bullies. And, I feel that in the whole, there's like guys who are just fucking bullies. Like there's a couple guys at the Comedy Store. Oh yeah. That are just like, they're up there. They're like higher up in the ranks. They've done some things, but you watch them get on stage and just be so mean to people that a lot of the time people are just laughing because they're uncomfortable.
But that's, style is more in vain at the Comedy Store. Like, I think the Comedy Store is, I often try and relate the clubs in LA to bands, and I would say the Comedy Store is Slayer.
Yeah.
The Laugh Factory is Bon Jovi.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Improv is more like, Soundgarden,
Yeah. I could even call the Improv Kesha at this point because they're so corporate.
Yeah, and the Ha-Ha is...
the Ha-Ha
is like,
a Smash Mouth.
Yeah. Lit.
Yeah. I like playing the Ha-Ha. That's what America looks like, is the Ha-Ha.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've had so many bad shows there, and just the way that place is run. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's
I'm friends with Jack and Jack Jr.
It's nothing personal. It just, I think there's a reason Lovett's opened up right down the street from them. They didn't really see the Ha-Ha as being. I mean, usually if you have a business, you're not going to open up right down the street from an established, and I think they've had a lot of good shows there, but if you notice at the Ha-Ha, a lot of good shows leave because they're like, they don't like the system in place there. So, but
I haven't experienced that aspect of it. They're just like, hey, come do this show. And I'm like, thank you.
Oh, stage time is stage time. I mean, I'm not, like you mentioned Bobby Oliver. I mean, is she still teaching comedy?
Yeah, I believe so. Right. And that's one of those situations where, like, I think we probably share the same views on teaching comedy. But, it's like there's people like Bobby, there's people like Jody who like teach comedy, but I like them. And I tell younger comics not to take comedy classes all day long. Don't do bringer shows. Don't take comedy classes.
Well, my problem with comedy schools, Greg Dean, Bobby's, who else? I think Sandy Shore.
Sandy Shore has one.
Teaches one. Is like, I think you should, have some level of accomplishment in the business before you take other people's money.
Yeah. But if you have some accomplishment in the business, you usually don't need to take other people's money.
Yeah. But that's I couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's like, if I want to learn how to hit a baseball, I'll ask Tony Gwynn. Well, I guess I can't ask him anymore, but I'll ask Rod Carew.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask some guy who never made it out a single A ball.
Yeah.
But, and then people will like, you'll only take advice from someone who's a multimillionaire and like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with comedy. Like, you need some jerk off to teach you how to hit a baseball because you can't go hang out with professional athletes.
Right.
We are surrounded by joke writing and performing wizards. Like, if you don't suck as a person, hang around comedy clubs long enough and you will be shown how to do it. Like,
I mean, I just have to respect the person. Like if Brian Redband, who's, Death Squad blowing up, Rogan's podcast, man. If he says to me, hey, Earl, I've listened to your podcast, this is how it could be better, I'm going to listen to him.
Do everything he says.
Because he's like the number one guy in the podcasting land.
He's the king of podcasts for sure.
Yeah,
he's also a great guy.
Yeah, he's always has me on the shows, and he doesn't have to. He knows hundreds of people. But, if someone who has a podcast that's shittier than mine is, hey, I listen to your, I'm like, dude, you got to be better than me to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hate comedy teachers because they, you can't teach comedy, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you just can't.
Yeah. You know what is great though? And here's an example. Have you ever read Comic Insights?
I don't think I have.
It's a great book. A great friend of mine bought it for me for my birthday. And it's written by Franklin Aja.
Oh my God, he's one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, and he used to have a comedy class at a college. A college asked him to do one. So he had all the greats come in. He had Seinfeld come in. He had Carlin come in. He had Chris Rock come in. So there's a part at the beginning where he talks about how he does comedy. And it blew my mind, like how he writes, what's important in performance, stuff like that to him. And like, it was like all the little pieces I was kind of putting together, but didn't. And then he has interviews with like standard sets of questions. Some of them vary, for the greatest comics that have ever lived. And
Wow.
George Carlin, man, like, and it's just, I'm halfway through it right now. And literally it's changed the whole game for me.
Dude, I would like to read that book.
Yeah, for sure. When I'm done with it, I'll totally let you use it.
Because if you're out there, please, Franklin Ajaye. I want to say his last name is Ajaye.
I think that's right.
His only problem was when he was blowing up. It was the same era as Richard Pryor, Paul Mooney. So it was like. It's like being that third band behind Slayer and Metallica. It's like
It's like being Anvil.
Yeah, I mean, and if you've ever seen the movie Convoy with Chris Christopherson and the still incredibly beautiful Ally McGraw, Franklin Ajaye, it might have been his only film. Well, no, he was in Car Wash. He was the black trucker, Spider Mike. So he's truly a comedy legend. But it goes to your point. If Franklin Ajaye was teaching a class, I would take it.
Yeah.
And it's not just because he's made money in the business, but he's fucking great. And, I like in comedy classes to, I have no vertical leap. I just don't.
Yeah.
Even though I'm in great shape and all that stuff. So it would be useless for me.
You need to do some plyometrics. Stop working those glamour muscles.
Well, yeah, but I'm in it for the chicks.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I work out.
The biceps. It's all about the biceps.
But, it would be useless for me to take a class on how to slam dunk because I just don't have the natural ability to do it.
Yeah.
So, it's like in comedy, you're either funny or you're not. You can't. And then I hear the standard argument is, well, you can teach technique. Well, what good's the technique if you're not funny?
Yeah. But, I mean, here's the other thing, though. I believe anyone can do anything. Ben Affleck, shitty actor for over a decade, crushed it with The Town, crushed it with Argo, figured it out what he needed to do that. And there's also, I'm not going to say names here because it could ruin my career, but there's certain comics who learned technique and then had other people write for them. And then, got huge, got their own TV shows.
Well, I would say in comedy, it's really more who you know and who you're connected with. You could be a shitty comic and still make it.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to either be a talent coordinator or be a talent booker on any late night talk show because I would expose the world to the funniest people I know. And none of them have been on TV. So, but,
Speaking of TV, I got what in today's day and age, I think we could call it like what used to be like getting on Carson.
Right.
On Twitter, the midnight hashtag game?
Right. Tell us about it. I'm not going to lie. I love you so much, and I love the audience so much. I just drank a whole bottle of water. I'm going to pee.
All right.
Craven has now taken over Inappropriate Earl till I get back.
All right.
So tell us about At Midnight.
All right. So At Midnight is welcome to Inappropriate Craven. So At Midnight is a talk show run by Nerdist, and they do a hashtag game every night. And last night's hashtag was hashtag Americanize a movie quote. And I tweeted, "It's a bird, it's a plane, it's unclear why we sent troops into Iraq." I got 52 retweets and 105 likes. Now, for someone with only 500 followers, this is an impressive feat, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I'm the Craven, TheCraven, and you can check out my 52 retweet, 105 like tweet from last night.
Well, yeah, and we're back. We're back live. Back for more, as Rat would say. I mean, yeah, I love that At Midnight game. I think I did one that got a fair amount of retweets or whatever with porn, some porn thing.
I mean, like ruin a porn or something like that.
Yeah, like turn a porn into a children's story. No, some song, do a porn song parody and name the group. And I put, I think I Want to Touch Myself by Jerry and the Sandusky's. That Sandusky was out of control. That guy.
Oh man, that guy that's the mouth of evil, man.
Oh, good looking guy too. I mean, he was, real mensch. But let's get back to comedy schools, scams, hustles. Like I know they have bartending schools.
Yeah.
Did you go to one or?
Yeah, I went to one not to become a bartender because my mom was like, "You're going to bartending school because you're a loser," and I was like, "Okay, fine." So I went. It didn't help me. I got a bartending job because I drank too much as a minor in bars.
But I mean, I imagine at least with the bartending school, you would. I mean, you have to know the drinks. I mean, how many drinks can you make? Hundreds?
I learned how to make hundreds. I make 400 vodka sodas a night. And when you do have to make mixed drinks, now they're all the bars individual mixed drinks that they make, because that's the thing, craft cocktails.
Right.
So it's gotten to the point where I learned how to make a Singapore Sling, and I haven't made one in 15 years. So when people come to the bar and they're like, Singapore Sling, and I'm like, hey Siri, how do you make a Singapore Sling? Yeah.
What do you ever watch that show on Spike TV, Bar Rescue?
No.
Oh, you've never even seen it?
No. Is that a Gordon Ramsay thing?
It's a kind of a ripoff. It's like this Gordon Ramsay type. By the way, how many shitty cooks are still left? I mean, hasn't he found them all?
Yeah. No, I think at this point, man, they're just making clones, dude. He's got a clone factory of contestants out in the valley somewhere. Because
I watch Hell's Kitchen, and I was an eater on it in the first, in 07.
Really? Oh, wait. Was that season 4 and 5 or 3 and 4? I was his assistant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was Gordon's assistant. I was driving him to and from set to his house.
Well, I mean, I wanted to go because he can't be this big of a dick. This has to be a total pro wrestling act. And my God, he was a dick on and off cameras to these contestants.
Well, that's the thing. In real life, if he walked into this living room, he'd be the sweetest guy on the face of the earth. In a professional environment, he's like a drill sergeant. So in front of cameras and in a kitchen, even in his own kitchens, that's how he is. And he's like, that's how a kitchen's run. That's his thing.
But I mean, I notice now, like 3 of his places have been shut down that these people that won Hell's Kitchen got to, like.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
well, that's like American Idol winners, like albums. Like that's not how you pick someone who's great at things.
But this, right? Yeah, no. But this season, they're not even announcing what the restaurant is. They're like, you just get a job running one of his restaurants. Like they've run out of places to put these shitty chefs.
Exactly. So congratulations, you won Hell Kitchen. You're gonna be a bussers at busser at Barney's Beanery right now, you'll get tipped out 10% at the end of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think America's Got Talent, The Voice, it's just, you can't find, you want to find the next great singer, comic, you got to go into the jungles and
it's like I had great hope for the last comic standing, and I watched a little bit of the new one, and I saw comics on there that I know that I'm like, I don't think you're that great. How are you on TV? Like, fuck this.
Well, I think it's still, at least this season, I think they picked more established acts. Yeah. And, you didn't have the blooper reels, like, the 3 weeks of, crazy open micers. I mean, Boone Shakalaka was on an episode.
Yeah. Does he use that as a credit?
Oh yeah, but that's the problem with that show. Is like you take someone like Eliza or Alonzo or I guess Dad Fan, their build is Eliza from Last Comic Standing.
Yeah. And then Eliza's fucking just a monster on stage.
Oh, she's great.
So good.
But you get these people who bombed on the show, Joey from Last Comic Standing, that kind of devalues her credit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I've never really...
Sure. And also, like, again, I don't agree with that, because that whole like show the clips of the people who like did fucking poorly, because like that could ruin a career. Like you put a first year comic on, of course he's gonna bomb. 5 years down the road, that still exists on the internet and they finally found their voice. That's a shitty thing to do, especially if this is a show that's like made by the comic community. Like,
but I mean, even like that show jumped the shark the first season when Dad Fan won, who by all accounts is a great guy and really funny.
I'm sorry, who?
But see, that's a guy who you think, I've never heard from him since. He's still headlines but he was basically doing a recycled Bobby Lee act, not stolen jokes, but it was just same premises, and it's like, and this is the guy who won. You're going to tell me this guy's better than Rich Voss or Dave Mordell or whoever. I forget who was on the first season, but it's like, Ant. Ant's a pretty funny gay comic. And I only say that because he told me I was funny. But, that was palming right there. I just palmed to Ant.
Yeah, you just did some palming. So palming on Inappropriate Earl's podcast.
Well, listen, you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That's my,
Is this 4th of July or Palm Sunday?
Yeah, well, it's Palm 4th, man. We're combining. See how great this podcast is going? I'm not going to lie to you, bro. And you and I are an enigma because we've known each other for years.
Forever. But we've never
really talked.
Yeah.
And I sent Carlos Herrera a message on Facebook saying, what the fuck do I ask him?
Yeah.
Because I thought this would last a minimum or maximum half hour. I'm like, okay, he'll plug his stuff. We'll talk about pussy for a little bit. Yeah. And we are approaching an hour and 21 minutes.
Oh, so. I think we need to give the listener a break. You think it's time to wrap it up?
No, fuck that. I like to drag out my podcast.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, well, in that case, I'm going to be totally honest with the listeners here. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to give the podcast to Earl, back to Earl for a minute because I have to use the bathroom.
Okay, so the bathroom's just right. Don't move too fast around the dog because she gets a little nervous. Just right in that. Lois, see, I told you move fast. Lois just made a lunge for Lois. Come on. All right, we're gonna break down real fast while the Craven is in the bathroom. The Kiss album "Crazy Nights," which came out in 1987. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. The producer on "Crazy Nights" was the great, legendary Ron Nevison, who was in demand in 1987 because he had completely resurrected Hart's career. Hart was kind of dead in the water, if you will, in the mid 80s, early 80s. And Kiss wanted him so bad they delayed making their next album after Asylum because they wanted to work with Ron Nevison. A lot of songs on Crazy Nights were co-written by the previously mentioned Desmond Child. Him and Paul had a nice working relationship starting in 1979 with the massive disco hit I Was Made for Loving You, and Kiss and Desmond Child had a relationship ever since. Had a couple big videos on MTV, Turn on the Night, Crazy Nights, and the great Kiss ballad, Reason to Live. And if you like the Kiss video for Reason to Live, you can bid on the Porsche in that video on eBay. It was Paul Stanley's Porsche. And, go. So the Craven is just sitting back down, but go listen to Crazy Nights. Great video. Don Barris from the Comedy Store actually did the audience warm-up for the Crazy Nights video, filmed on location at the Olympic Auditorium, just off the 5 freeway, which is now a Korean church.
Is that Don Barris from Windy City Heat?
Don Barris from Windy City Heat.
That guy's a legend.
Oh, he's Jimmy Kimmel warm-up live. He does the audience warm-up. He closes out the show at the Comedy Store every night. And he's a brilliant comic. He's got a big project coming in August, some gay wedding, which is relative to Windy City Heat. I'm not quite sure of the specifics, but if you follow Don Barris on Twitter, simply Don1, the number 1, or follow him on Facebook, big things happening in Don's life. And I want, my goal with this podcast is to have the audience go, we want to hear more of that guest. So we probably should tap it right now. What is your Twitter address?
My Twitter address is The Craven, so it's that little circle A thing, the at The Craven, TheCraven. But also, I'm a very personal dude, so if you want to be my friend on Facebook, just look up Jeremy Craven.
Are you the only Jeremy Craven?
No, there's a few, but I'm the only good-looking one.
Okay, there you go.
And it's like Highlander. I'm going to kill all the others.
And give the link again to the Indiego project.
Just go to Indiegogo.com in the little search box, type recovery, and you'll see a big picture of my face up there that says recovery, and hit play on that video, you guys, because it's funny.
And, usually I'm against promoting Kickstarters and things of that nature, but it is hard to get things made in this town. And I think sometimes Kickstarter and Indiegogo and whatever the third one is, I'm not remembering.
Go fuck me.
They IndieGoFuckYourself.com. They have a bad rap because it's like, well, if you believe in your project so much, just put your own money into it. It's just not feasible to do that. I mean, these movies don't, even shorts, cost, the fair amount. You have to pay the crew and all that shit.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking at $12,000 for 18 pages.
Yeah, and that's a short. So which is why I admire my friend, and you might know him, Brian Drolet.
I know the name.
He made the movie Dumbbells. Got it into theaters, and he did it all on his own. But so please support the Craven, support Inappropriate Earl. There's just a few ways you can do that. Actually, I'm on Twitter as well at Earl Skakel. There's only one Earl Skakel. EARL SKAKEL. Same thing on Facebook. I just joined Instagram yesterday.
Oh yeah,
Instagram Earl Skakel.
A lot of dick pics.
I do have a nice dick pic. I mean, it's a double headshot. And a lot of people ask me, well, Earl, you're a man in your mid-40s. What are you doing with a dick pic on your phone? And one night, Jeff Richards, the great Jeff Richards, Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, said, Earl, what does your ex-girlfriend's pussy look like? And I thought that was kind of a rude question, even though he was kidding. So I took a dick pic.
Oh.
And I said, hey, Jeff, check out that.
The negative space around this. That's what it looks like.
Then the great Stephanie Simbari and Jade Catapretta put that picture on Instagram. And
those girls.
And Paige from the Improv saw it as well, and because Jeff showed it to her.
Yeah.
And I got a spot the next night. So there you go.
Great. It's like a Hydra.
Well, it's my biggest credit to date, other than Benchwarmers, 2006. Netflix it. So please go on SoundCloud, where just Inappropriate Earl, or for you Steve Jobs gobnobblers, we're still on iTunes. And leave a review, bad or good. I leave them all up. And good reviews just help. I'm trying to get to the Rogans and the Hardwicks and the Marins, and it's a long road to climb without help. And support Jeremy Craven. This has been Inappropriate Earl. Monday, the great Bobby Brown, not the cosmetics magnate, but the girl who was in the Warrant video for Cherry Pie is coming in. And this is a girl, and you might think this is a rude introduction, but she's pretty open about it. She fucked Tommy Lee, obviously Janie Lane from Warrant, Star Search winner 9 times.
Slapped Whitney Houston.
Oh, did she?
No, that's different Bobby Brown.
Oh, yeah, right. Gave Whitney the crack pipe. I just want to ask her how creepy was Ed McMahon on Star Search. I mean, you talk about that guy was the ultimate Palmer. So that's coming up. Stephen Piercy coming up. Fred Curry from Cinderella. We got some big things happening. Don Rickles possibly, which would be huge for me. He's my idol.
Don, not Mindy.
Yeah, Mindy Rickles. No, I've heard of Mindy Rickles. Everyone keeps asking me if I know her, but I don't. And that's got to be a tough gig to be Don Rickles' daughter.
Yeah.
And because I knew Don's, now this is going to bring it down, but I have to say this because I'm sad. I knew Don's son, Larry, who passed away recently, which is crazy that, Don Rickles would outlive his son. It's just, but, I don't know Mindy Rickles. Could check out Mindy Rickles while you're at it. She's got to be remotely funny if Don's sperm created her. And please, my YouTube recommendation of the day is, please, even if you're young, old, don't know anybody in the comedy world, please YouTube Foster Brooks roasting Don Rickles. It's the greatest 5-minute roast you'll ever see. And that's how roasting's done. We'll see you guys later. See you.